Oops. You're on.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good something. Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's Friday. We are so happy. Hope it's been a good week. It's been certainly an interesting week. So that's always a good thing. So we announced our topic last week, thankfully, because Sue was able to go back and actually resurrect what we said we would do as we thought about what this week would bring. So the topic is siblings. I am one of three, and I have three. And I was thinking about a time we were talking about, when your sibling has your back. And it's funny, Sue, when you threw that out earlier, I thought, wow, I could definitely talk about when my kids had. I know when my kids have had it, but I don't remember like that feeling of when I had it as a kid. And then 2 seconds ago, I'm like, oh my God, I remember. And so we were living on Long Island. My sister and I are 4 grades apart. And we had moved there when I was 10. And, I was the new girl in 5th grade. And, that's always exciting for someone, to get, new blood in there. And so I became friends with these 2 girls who were like besties, I guess. So I all of a sudden was the third. And I was friends with both of them, which apparently was a problem, which I didn't know till they told me it was a problem. And oh my God, it's such a classic story. This is like the early social media story. So I'm on the phone, one calls me and said, I thought you were my best friend, but you told so-and-so you were her best friend. It was like that type of conversation. And I remember saying, well, it's like a ruler. It's so funny. I'm just remembering it. It's like a ruler, like you're both, like the ruler goes to 12, you're both 11s or both 12s, or or you got friendlier. I'm trying now. I'm sure I'm going to dream about it tonight now. And all of a sudden, the other girl was there. So I don't know if it was 3-way calling. I don't know if the girl was in her house. Like there was something like they tricked me, right? And I remember where I was sitting in my dining room. I must have started crying. I don't know, but my sister heard me like in distress. I was probably in 6th grade at the time, I think. I think I'd already been on Long Island for a year or 2. My sister comes in. I don't even know if she remembers this. She comes in from the other room. She grabs the phone and she said, "This is not okay." And hangs up the phone.
That's such a nice story. Yeah, that is a moment when my story is so much crappier than yours. I've shared
that was really crappy. They like totally like took a dump on me.
No, but your sister had your back. So my sister had my back because I was horrible. Your sister had your back because your friends were horrible. So
okay.
I've shared this story before. I'm pretty sure on a podcast. I don't know if here, but when we were younger, my sister is 4 years younger than me. I'm one of 4. My sister, I remember her coming home from the hospital. I held her in the car. She was kind of my first baby. And then, that emotion disappears and she's just an annoying younger sibling. Yeah. And I'm trying to couch this in a way that doesn't make me look bad, but there's no way.
I know I've heard the story. I'm trying to remember where you're going.
So TV dinners was like the biggest treat in the whole world. It was such a treat. I remember it was like, I mean, really, we loved this one. It was fried fish, tater tots, and peas, those little teeny peas. It's crazy. I remember nothing in my life. And I can tell you what was in the meal. Like it was.
I can smell it as you're telling it.
Yeah, but it's like a dead thing now. But maybe it's not, but we don't do it anymore. We never did it with our kids, but it was so much fun. And so we were in my parents' bed. They weren't home. I finished mine first. My sister still had tater tots on hers, and I wanted one, which of course I ate mine. She didn't eat hers. She was a slower eater. She didn't finish hers yet. And so we had a fight, a physical fight. And she fell off the bed.
Wait, how old are you? I'm just curious. How old is she?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
I'd like to say we were 4 and 8, but I don't think so.
We add a 1 to the beginning of each.
I don't think that much. But anyway, she ended up with a black eye. Now, I'm pretty sure I gave her the black eye. She remembers it that she fell off the bed and got the black eye, but I'm still pretty sure I gave her the black eye. And when my parents got home and she had a black eye, she said she fell. That was it. That was the story she told. She hit herself. Like, I was like, whoa. Anyway, like, if that's not
about that.
Oh yeah. There's no equivalent on the other side for me. I'm pretty sure. But that was a moment where I was like, wow, that's crazy that she's willing to tell a different story so that I don't get in trouble. And so I remember the moment. I don't know if my kids know this moment is the moment that they had each other's back, but I remember a moment where I thought I don't have to worry about them because they've got, they have that connection to each other that, in the same way your sister did, like the outside world better not try to do you have a moment like that also? Okay, so you go with yours.
Okay. Yeah, ours was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when one of our kids was asked to leave camp, and which is a way bigger story, and was very wronged. We'll put it that way. And it, in some ways, a beautiful story of people rallying around him, friends, and whatever. But it changed everything in the dynamic between he and his younger sister, who fought nonstop. And in fact, she even said it recently. She said, "Oh yeah, that's when everything turned for me and Ethan." Because they felt he was so wronged. And the first person he called was his older brother before he called us. So he called his brother first. Then he called us. His sister was at camp. And then he got off the phone. He said, "I can't stay on any longer. I need to go find her." And they sat together and cried together, and and little bits have eked out over time too. So like, as much as we thought it was at that point, even we've learned much more, and it changed everything. I mean, and I remember even at the time I could even see it, as devastated and as heartbreaking as it was. I remember I was so emotional when it was all going on, but I even remember that emotion of like, my breath was taken away that they had each other's backs. Like literally.
Yeah, I remember it too. It was so beautiful when it was going on. Yeah. And so my story is when my second kid came out, which I don't even know how many years it is now. It's a little bit.
As the kids would say, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely been a minute. Well, he's married now, so it's definitely been more than a minute. But I could not believe how my other kids rallied around him. Like, there was no space for anybody to interfere in any negative way with the news. And it happened in little ways and in big ways. And they were calling him all the time to see how he was doing. Like, it just made me think, I don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Like that thing that we kind of think,
do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of hope that when you're not here anymore, there's a support network for your kids. And one of my favorite stories is that one of my kids heard a friend of my son's defend him, not directly, but someone was telling a joke that was off-color, homophobic, and his friend said, "Not here. Nope, not here."
And your other kid heard that.
Another kid of mine overheard it, and my other kid never liked that friend. And she said, "I will always like him." Like, because his friend defended him, she now liked that friend.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it put him in a whole new light, and that was enough. That he loved her brother was enough. Yeah. So, anyone on now that has a story about siblings, if you want to share it, that's our favorite part of Friday. What else?
I was going to ask, like, I often wonder, like, what are those things that, it's funny. I was just texting with a friend whose her kids are much younger. So they are 8 and 11, right? So, right, her too. It's funny. And they're a boy and a girl. They're exactly 10 years younger than my boy, my middle, and my daughter. And she's like, I'm going to kill myself. Like the non-stop bickering, blah, blah, and she's going on. And I said, here's what I'm going to tell you. I said, I feel you because that was me. Like, it was insane. I'm like, I don't know how people survive this, but I have many friends. I wouldn't say many. I have a handful of friends where their kids did not bicker, but they also almost like paralleled. Okay. They were almost like unconcerned about what the other was doing. Like it was the complete opposite. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I get that? Like they were so unconcerned. Now, ironically, like all these years later, my kids are super tight, but those kids are all still parallel. They're not so concerned about each other. I'm like, okay, so do you have to go through? And it was nothing we did. That was just the dynamic of my kids. Like, it wasn't like, oh, let's try, let me figure out a strategy so they can make mom about to like take her passport and leave forever because we bicker nonstop, but we'll get through and then we'll all be really close. It was just the way they were. But is there a correlation there? Like they were so concerned about each other, but now in the end, they are so concerned about each other.
So for anyone who's listening and their kids don't fight, I wouldn't take this as a cautionary tale.
No. I'm just saying like mine were so in each other's business. And then years later, they're still in each other's business. It just looks different, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think both are true. I think you can have kids who, kind of are disinterested in childhood for a host of reasons, how far apart they are in age, whatever.
Yeah, right.
That can still like come together. Like my husband is 9 years older than his youngest brother, and they talk almost every day. They didn't grow up in the same house. So
my mom and her little sister, same thing. That's so funny.
So relationships evolve in a host of different ways. So if you're either scenario, we can't promise you either outcome.
No.
If they're fighting now, they could be fighting later. And if they're now, they could be,
it's totally true. And I was, and to be clear, I was trying to be very supportive to her. Like, hey, that's how mine looked. And you know what it looks like now. So like, just keep going. And again, like, I guess that's what I think about. Like, that was just their dynamic. We didn't foster one or the other. I don't think like people are people. Like, what are you going to do? Like, okay, maybe I'm here to tell the tale. I'm like, okay, that ended up okay. But it's like, oh my God, it's so trying. I told her to get Siblings Without Rivalry. She ordered it. I sent her the link. I was like, just order it.
The Bible. It is the Bible. I mean, it is such an unbelievable Siblings Without Rivalry. If even to this day, I think of the things I learned from that book and I still do them. I mean, everyone just wants to be heard. In fact, we know that now about our kids in general. They don't want us to solve their problems. They just want us to hear them. So when your kids are fighting and telling you how horrible the other one is, you get to say like, wow, that sounds terrible, but you don't have to fix it for them.
Yeah. It's so true. Somebody posted, I think it was Jennifer Gardner. It was about, she has 3 kids and she was, about who the favorite kid is. And so how she'll always tell whichever one she's with that they're the favorite or something. It was really funny. And I was thinking, it was funny how it still plays out. Like our youngest is 18. The boys were home. They left to go back to their respective locations. And I said, wow, back to just being you. We're back with just our favorite. Now, I'm very sarcastic. She's very sarcastic. She waits about a second. She goes, wait, is that true?
Well, do you remember Margaret Thatcher?
Favorite?
Do you remember Margaret Thatcher and the Queen, where she says her son is her favorite and everyone has a favorite? I think either you froze or I froze. Yeah.
Okay, totally. Totally. Oh my God.
So Dan and I were just watching it. And so we started a conversation about like, we don't have a favorite, right? But our kids think so. And so I mean, the difference is I've always felt like whoever wants me more gets me more. And then it seems like, I mean, if you call me every day, I talk to you every day. So one of my kids calls me almost every day. And I was returning a call and she was with her 2 sisters and they were going, how come you never call me? How come you never call me? And, I said, because I'm returning her call. You did not call me. So like to them, they say, well, she's your favorite. And it's like, because she wants more of me than you do. That's all it is. I'll give you as much as you want. So it's, and Dan also, like, the kid who calls the most is the one that seems or wants to engage with us in the most, wants to spend time with us. When you say, do you want to go for a walk? They say yes. It's not love more or like more. It's just they respond to you differently.
Right, but their perception, it's so funny. I was just telling you that how the kids were reliving these tales when they were with their cousins about like who was the strictest and and look at the baby and he gets to do that in that family and she gets to do this in this family. And Zach was retelling a story the other night. In fact, we never went back to it. About, do you remember I got punished because I cut her off skiing and then I couldn't go to dinner with you guys that night? And I was like, that's not the only thing that happened. And he's like, wait, what do you mean? And I was like, and we were eating, and it was kind of a gross story. And I'm like, I'll tell you after dinner. But he had this moment where he's like, wow, maybe our stories don't match. It's a funny line, and we never went back to it. But I'm just making a mental note that I need to tell him the rest of it.
Yeah, so he rewrote the version.
He really did. But then I started thinking, well, did I rewrite it? It's possible. I don't think so, but it's possible.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Not a whole lot of engagement today. Hopefully next week everyone will want to tell us more. Do we have a topic for next week? Anyone have any suggestions what we should talk about for next week?
Are we in February yet next week? No, we're at the tail end of January next week.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about.
Okay,
I don't even understand how much Friday again, and I say it every Friday. Because Friday is like this moment. First of all, we have a Facebook Live, you and I, so it's like a little bit of a time frame. And then it's the beginning of the weekend, and I really just don't understand how we got here again. So next Friday, which is tomorrow, we're going to talk about the passage of time.
That's a good one. And then we're going to go back to this one so we can figure out what we said we're going to talk about. But I'm going to put it on my calendar right now.
Okay, I'm just going to share this one because I'm so happy that Karen decided that she was going to be our only comment today so far. I love this segment, Karen. We love that you were on it and that you shared a comment. And thank you for the feedback. Okay, so
we'll see you next week or tomorrow.
Everybody have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Take care.